Welcome back. The election season is about to kick in. Seriously, I'm talking about all of it. First of all, we'll start with the area council elections in February, which is just a month from now in the FCT. And then we'll move on to the elections that are off-cycle, Ekiti and Osun state elections. And then the big one, which is the general election. Now, there has been alignment and realignment. Horse trading will begin pretty soon. So this year is practically a year for loads of campaign, political hot air as much as possible. Well, we're beginning to weigh into all of these conversations as far as it's concerned. And one of the things we're looking at, the concerns around one-party state. But if you're a true Democrat, you want every party to survive as far as democracy is concerned. I'm particularly pleased with the messaging that we're seeing from perhaps the ADC with their spokesperson in terms of how they are holding the government to account. So, for instance, the ADC is asking government about the MOU signed with the United States government about the 2.1 billion naira financial commitment to help our health sector in terms of faith-based framing. For me, that's how to hold government to account. Come and explain yourself where you mean. And then we can go to the PDP. The spokesperson as well, just doing a statement and doing graphic explanation as to what they're asking for. So we're seeing some movement. But all of these parties have their own challenges. Let me bring in our guest, who is a politician, a member of the House of Representatives, who represents Lavon Mokwa Edati Federal Constituency in the House of Reps, Honorable Joshua Ghana. Honorable, thank you so much for coming on the program. Yeah, if you can help us unmute your device.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, and Happy New Year to you. The House will begin sitting pretty soon. I know that they've been on recess, and there's a lot that has happened, and I know you're aware of it. I'm spoiled for choice, in the words of Bukola, so where to start from. But perhaps let me start with what is of greater importance to Nigerians before we talk of core politics, and that is the Electoral Act amendment. One of the things we're expected to see is in February or March, we're supposed to see the timetable of INEC coming out, and that is because for now we're still working with the Electoral Act 2022 because there's been this talk around ensuring that post-election litigation ends before people are inaugurated into office. Whether that's going to be a reality in this dispensation, we do not know. But walk us through what you know. I don't know whether you're in that committee. What you know is the progress made so far as Electoral Act amendment is concerned and what Nigerians should expect before we come to talk about what's been playing out in politics.
Okay, thank you. Before we rose for the recess, we sat at plenary to debate on all the issues that were before us presented by the chairman of the Electoral Committee. They had done a lot of work, and that was presented to all members, and we went through everything line by line, made corrections, and so it's going into its final form before passage. We hope that the current ruling party, led by the sitting president, will assent to it in promise to Nigerians for the changes that Nigerians want to see before the next electoral rounds coming up next year in February. For we in the opposition party, we do not trust that they will do that. So we're watching closely. As we resume, we will follow up the issues with them. And we see that there will be issues that will come up that will make that deal to drag. Some of those issues will not be addressed because we feel the ruling party has it in its interest to still use the former Electoral Act to get their second term before they pass this new one against 2031. That's my personal suspicion. I might be wrong, and I hope they prove me wrong. I'm not speaking for all opposition parties, but I'm from the PDP. And in my personal opinion, I do not see them passing it and getting it signed by Mr. President for it to be the effective act that will run 2027 elections. I seriously doubt they're doing it.
If there's time, we'll get back to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and talk a bit more expansively about the other items on it. But let me quickly get this one through about the tax reform laws that have already kicked in and still causing ripples among Nigerians. What is the position, or if you like, the atmosphere in the opposition camp in the lower legislative chamber, particularly with regards to the position, the dust rather raised by Honorable Dasuki about the difference in what was passed and what eventually became a law? Is the opposition bloc taking the position of the executive that the changes are minimal and not significantly impact on the entirety of the laws themselves? Are you taking it in your strides as the opposition bloc in the lower chamber?
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Dasuki is a ranking member and very well respected, and want to thank him for and his team who discovered those nuances that needed to be clear before passage. What I know the leadership in the National Assembly has done was to fine-tune the issues between the red chamber and the green chamber. So the perfected one, which we are currently going through now, or we're going through, remember, there's already an investigative committee that was set up by Mr. Speaker to look at all the issues that were raised by Honorable Dasuki on behalf of the opposition members in Parliament. And so what we have now, they have presented, the Speaker has presented the harmonized one for regazetting. And I think they've made that public that this is formally regazetted now, and the regazetted copy is the copy that Nigerians should refer to. And so I trust our team, especially led by Honorable Dasuki, that they're looking through that regazetted copy. And if there are any issues, as we resume from the 26th of this month, those issues will be raised on the floor of Parliament and debated. No. But the general principle in lawmaking, we that came into lawmaking as legislators, is our training says it's better to have a bad law than no law at all. No law causes lawlessness. It's better to have a bad law, and we raise the red flags of a bad law, and we as legislators can do amendments to correct those issues that are being raised. So there's no document that is perfect. It's as we implement them and we see the effect of those laws on the state, on Nigerians. We are representative of our people. They will still get back to us to say, this is where it bites, this is where it hurts, this is where it helps development. And we can go back to the table with organized private sector and the rest to amend those laws until we have what is perfect for Nigerians and we'll be all happy for. So I think we plead as an opposition member for Nigerians to be patient. Let's go step by step into the issues that we have raised. Let Nigerians trust us as opposition members to be sure that we always raise the red flag wherever anything comes up within the regazetted document that has been presented now.
So we've managed to talk about two important laws. First, the Electoral Act, the amendment process that is ongoing, and the tax amendment law as well, the new tax laws, simply put. And I wonder for you, it's still the same ruling party that is handling these things. You don't seem to trust the ruling party with the Electoral Act amendment that is currently ongoing. Do you trust them with this new tax laws as well?
Well, basically, given the timing, for a lot of years now, our tax regime has not been changed or gone through its reforms. So we welcomed it because things like in the villages where people are still collecting wheelbarrow tax, bicycle tax, and what have you, and then it doesn't cover tricycle taxation, which is now what we call the keke napep and the rest. all those things and these are people that we represent. These are people that stand to vote us into office, that are suffering from the old tax law. So it needed to be updated. We totally agree with that as an opposition party and legislators in parliament. But because of how the ruling party went about it and the uncertainties in the polity, where so many of our legislators who came on the trust of Nigerians on different party platforms against the ruling party, they have seen many of those trusted votes and those members that came in moving and declining from the party that elected them, on the platform that elected them, to go into the ruling party. So there's an overwhelming membership of the ruling party now and voting in favor of whatever the ruling party does. And so that's brought a lot of people that we confided in and said, this is our position as opposition party. The next morning you are sitting on the floor and you see all of them saying, well, for whatever reason that was happening in their party or whatever reason with their sitting governor, they have to decide to move to the ruling party. So it has been rather unfortunate, and that has brought a bit of distrust to say, in this kind of debate, the fewer is not the merrier. We needed to be more in the opposition to fight so that there is a balance of the votes that say we're for or against issues. So it's the distrust for how the ruling party has allowed excess movement by destabilizing other parties that are in opposition, not to take firm positions to stop some of the things that are being passed in their laws. So it's the environment. They have brought a lot of suspicion and distrust in the environment, because how can you converse with someone in an opposition meeting the previous night, and in the morning before the business of the day is read, Mr. Speaker is now reading out their names, that they are coming into the ruling party. And you go like, why didn't you say that last night? And why didn't you, since you had already decided in your heart or by the instruction of your governor that you should move into the ruling party with him, why did you sit at our meeting? And so that that level of distrust, I don't want to call it deceit, because it's politics. It's arrangement between people, and we debate the issues until we arrive at consensus or what positions that we want to put forward. So that is what has brought about a lot of distrust in Parliament now.
Honorable, for me, self-preservation and subservience to power is the driving force for most Nigerian politicians. And I'll continue to say, and I'd like to be challenged, that we don't have a political party. Yes, we thought PDP was that strong, but if after these few elections, PDP is almost, 4 governors now, we're hoping it survives. The APC, they're in power, so they will look strong. Until they leave power, we now know whether they are strong. But let's talk about what happened in 4 days. There has been an application for stay in the Federal High Court before Justice Abdul Malik on the issue of access to the Secretariat, because there was a suit on November 21 by the Ironwood-led group to say none of, excuse me, the other group should not have access to the Secretariat. So as I speak now, no group has access to that Secretariat. And the bigger concern here is to the effect that if things continue like this, the chances of the People's Democratic Party to be able to field candidates will be under a lot of concern. Does that bother you? What do you want to see in the coming days?
Yeah, certainly it bothers me. What has happened in our democratic experience is saddening. To see that a party loyalty, a platform that gave you the opportunity to come and serve in office, you are ready to jettison it at little confrontation to move to another party for comfort. In my own opinion and in my training, that is a bad precedence for a leader, someone who says, I'm in leadership, I'm here to stand for people. The trust on which I came into office is on the electoral votes of Nigerians and citizens who elected you to go on that party's platform to go and defend their votes and defend their trust. So you are breaking trust, you are breaking the principle of leadership, and it's a question mark for me, and I really want to watch to see how all this ends. Whether some of us who are resolute that true leadership means that that leader stays in the party. If you are trying to solve Nigerians' problems for over 200 million people, and yet you cannot sit down to solve your political party's problem with less than how many million people, then people should say, no, those kind of leaders cannot be trusted with power. They will always move to a comfort zone when they get elected into office. We have to face the issues here. It's not about leaving the party, going to another party. We were internally in those other parties. Some of them are not happy that people are coming in, and they're going also. The ADC has that experience. They have their internal crisis now. Some have gone to court. Others in the same with Labour Party and other ones. And we have seen that even in NNPP with the Kano issue. So there's nowhere that is safe or free from this attitude. Legality will never take over legitimacy anywhere in the world. Being a legitimate party is stronger than going to courts to get legality to get you out of the way or into your own way. So it's sad that something that leaders would have sat in one room and said, we have to look, there are generations after us watching us. We have to look like people who can take over government and solve Nigeria's problems. And that example starts with us solving our problems internally in our party. It's not by leaving it and going to a comfort zone. So I'm really sad that in my day, people I highly respected and looked up to will see this kind of problems in PDP and choose to go away. I asked myself, how can I be a sitting governor, a chief executive of a state, and I leave the party that got me into office because of enmity or misunderstanding with another person or a problem that seemingly wants to threaten your re-election? Look, Nigerians are there. If they just trusted you, I came on a platform of PDP when the ruling party was in rulership under Buhari at the national and in my state with an APC governor, and the person I defeated was APC. The people's resolve is that is this young man that they know, they like and trust, let's elect him. They were not mad when they saw that there are other candidates from the ruling party that they could have elected. And they chose me. How will I betray that trust as a leader? I'd rather stand my ground, face and solve the problem in my party. And they said, of a truth, this man has leadership qualities. He did move. He got the party back on ground, and we have moved on. That is the quality of a true leader. So I'm not pointing fingers at anyone to abuse. I'm a politician. If at the end of this issue, like I said, these are issues that should have been solved politically, not legally. So if the legal patterns that we do not trust, the legitimate patterns that we know is when people discuss, agree, disagree, come to a consensus and say, guys, let's go together as a front. We can solve these other issues when we take over office, and there'll be space to put those who are aggrieved, those who feel left out, into other positions so that we can collectively help Nigerians to move forward. Rather than doing that, going to another party to be safe. So are you there because you are the best person in yourself? Did you get elected in yourself? No. So I'm watching to see those that have betrayed the trust of Nigerians, that they came on opposition parties from the ruling party, to see how they fare in the next election round.
All right.
Go ahead.
Honorable Ghana, some would say safety is not necessarily the most ideal word to use to describe the PDP currently, especially against the backdrop of its diminishing fortunes, its litigations, and it is a fact that there is huge doubt about the ability of the party to even present a presidential candidate ahead of 2027. So would you endorse a move by your party to align with other parties? Very close to mention now would be the ADC, especially with key members of your party who have now moved to the ADC. So would that be an ideal option ahead of 2027?
All right. We can never predict political outcomes in the future. And so we are open to, within the principles of democratic practices, that will work for our polity and for Nigerians to ensure that if the legal rulings or judgments come out in a way that we are not able to present candidates from People's Democratic Party, where all human beings will come to the table again, look at the issues clearly, and see what best works for we party faithfuls moving forward. It's not so much about a personality being in office. It's about the right party with the right candidate doing the right thing for Nigerians and is accountable to the people. So yes, I'm saying this because truth will always rule, no matter what happens. And people have forgotten. The first party to be registered in Nigeria was the People's Democratic Party in 1998. We were the first licensee because even under the military rule, these politicians came together, start as G18, G34, that metamorphosed when the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan came to say, we have seen people struggle, we have given the Nigerian federal government under Abdul Salam a certain amount of time, go and form your party and all that. And with that, the whole local government, we won landslide as a party, and we have grown over the years. So that we are going through this challenge is a test of our leadership and resolve to know that we're the oldest political party and platform in Nigeria, and we can do better than what people are seeing. So I believe, by the grace of God, in the coming days, the political outcomes will allow PDP to field its presidential candidate, and all of us on that platform will be fielded, and Nigerians will trust that these are the true leaders that can stand the test of time.
Honorable, the prayer is that everyone, all parties should survive. So this is a real test of the resolve of whether we have ended up building SPVs or we're building political parties. But almost thank you. Honorable Joshua Ghana, member representing Lavon Mokwa Edati Federal Constituency in Niger State in the House of Representatives. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Cheers.